Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Sasia and I'm a second year clinical psychology PhD student at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, and I'm going to be talking about a project which is called Genetic and Environmental Associations with Trajectories of Antisocial Behavior. So antisocial behavior includes aggressive and non-aggressive rule-breaking behaviors such as fighting, hitting, deceitfulness, and theft. And youth that exhibit antisocial behaviors are at risk of developing other externalizing and internalizing behaviors and disorders across the lifespan. And importantly, not all youth who exhibit antisocial behaviors in childhood will continue to exhibit them in adulthood. And there's heterogeneity in the presentation of them over time. Additionally, the precise etiology of antisocial behavior remains unknown, which leads to some of the research questions of this project, including do polygenic scores differentially predict developmental trajectories of antisocial behavior, and what factors underlie various trajectories. So we use a polygenic score from the most recent GWAS for externalizing, published by Carlson, Linaire, and colleagues in 2021. And also I did pre-register this project, so you're more than welcome to scan the QR code if you're interested in learning more about that. So using Lane class growth analysis, we looked at trajectories of antisocial behavior using the National Longitudinal Study of Adolescent to Adult Health. And we used all 5 waves of data looking at ages 13 to 41, and we had 5 items that were consistent across all waves that measured antisocial behavior. And so what we found is that 4 classes best fit the data. And so the one on the very bottom you can see is the low class, and about 67% of the sample fell into this category, in which very little or no antisocial behaviors were presented across time. And then the one right above that is the moderate class, in which very moderate levels of ASV were exhibited, which started to decline around the 30s. And then the one above that was the adolescence peak pathway, in which very high levels of ASV were exhibited that sharply declined beginning in the early 20s. And then finally above that was the high decline pathway, in which levels of ASV were consistently higher than the other trajectories, but were consistently declining across ages 13 to 41. And what we found using logistic regression is that the externalizing PGS was most associated with the high decline pathway, followed by the moderate pathway in reference to the trajectory. However, the externalizing polygenic score was not associated with the adolescence peak pathway. So again, compared to the low or normative trajectory, those in the high decline and moderate groups had higher polygenic scores. And this could be because genes are more likely to be involved in trajectories that persist over longer periods of time. And this also might indicate that the environment could play a larger role for the adolescence peak trajectory and could be a possible reason why it wasn't associated with that class. So the next thing we did was test some mediation models that were informed from logistic regression. And in particular, we were interested in looking at supportive parenting, which involves feelings of closeness and warmth between adolescents and their parents. And supportive parenting is an established protective factor generally for antisocial behavior, but we are interested in looking at how it might differ for different trajectories. And so we found that it was a partial mediator for both the high decline and moderate pathways. So to conclude, genes and environment might play distinct roles for different developmental trajectories. And this is a work in progress. So our next step here is to break apart this traditional polygenic score to be able to test genetic nurture versus direct genetic effects and test additional mediation models as well. So thank you so much for your attention, and I really look forward to answering questions.